Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Afif bin Muhammad Noor from Mechanical Engineering. So now I will be presenting about assignment 1 for KSP1171 CHESS. Okay, without further ado, let's move on to my introduction. So I have 4 siblings and my parents both work as teachers. So I am currently living in Penang and I went to primary and secondary school also in Penang. Only by continuing study in UTP, I am now in Perak. So about my chess background, I can say that myself is on intermediate level because since primary school and also secondary school, I went into tournaments, I think at district level and also state level. So why did I choose to join chess Kokyu for this semester is because as I had experience of chess, so I think it is easier for me in this Kokyu course. And for me, chess is personally fun for me, and it makes me think more about how to strategize and how to manage my time. So according to FIDE laws, there are 3 time control gameplay. The first one is standard time control, where each player has at least 60 minutes of thinking time. And the next one is rapid time control, where the time allotted is 10 minutes, is between 10 minutes and 60 minutes for each player. And while blitz time control only provides 10 minutes or less thinking time for each player. Okay, next moving on to the touch move law. So it is to make it easy to understand whenever a player intends to move a piece and the player has touched the piece. So the player has to move the piece that has been touched and cannot put back the piece and choose another piece to be moved. Okay, that is the easiest description I can give about touch move law. So whenever a player touch a piece, it has to move that piece that has been touched. Okay, next is checkmate and stalemate. So the checkmate is when the king is not able to counter any attacks or threats. So in this diagram, the horse, the knight is checking the king of white. So the king of white has to move either here or here. But the knight here is also threatening the square, and the queen here is threatening the square. So the king has no other place to move, and by looking at other white pieces, there are no pieces that can capture this knight, which is checking the king of white. So that is considered checkmate because there is no counter to any attacks or threats by the opposition. Moving on to stalemate is when a king is not in check and it has no other legal move that is possible. So based on the diagram, the rook of white here is blocking the path here, and the queen is blocking the path here. So the king of black is not able to move here and here. And by looking at other black pieces, the pawn here cannot move because it is blocked, and the pawn here also cannot move because it is also blocked. And the bishop here, it can either move here and move here, but in this case it cannot move. Why? Because it will open the king of black to check by the rook here. Okay, so for example, if the bishop move here, the rook will check the king, so it's not possible to move the bishop either. So in this case, since the king is not in check yet, it is considered a stalemate and the match is counted as draw. Okay, now here is my information about my 10 online chess games. So out of 10, I only have 6 wins and 4 losses. So here are my first 8 moves for each game, and my rating went from 1500 to 1269. I think that's all from me about my assignment 1. Thank you and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.